Joining me now, Congressman Russell Fry is a Republican serving South Carolina's 7th Congressional District. You can follow him at Russell Fry SC. Congressman, welcome.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Julie.
Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. We're back at it this week. So
yes, indeed.
It's good to be, but it's a busy time in our nation's capital.
It is. You got that rescissions package, and I'm hearing lots of sort of buyer's remorse about the big, beautiful bill.
Well, maybe a little bit, but I think this bill is a historic opportunity, and I think it's part of a larger phase, if you will. We have rescissions packages that will be on the floor as early as next week. We have the appropriations process, which deals with discretionary spending. That process is starting now, but this bill is huge. I mean, what the challenge right now is that if Congress does not act, people's taxes are going up, which, in my estimation, is going to be the largest tax increase ever, but would lead to a recession. People are already having trouble keeping up with the prior 4 years of inflation and inflationary pressure. And this bill delivers on so many of the president's agenda items, things that he campaigned on and that we all campaigned on. So you've got tremendous tax relief in there. You've got funding of border operations to make sure that we are, one, securing the border, and two, deporting people that should not be in this country. It is the largest cut, if you will, of mandatory spending in the history of the Congress. And certainly we all want to do more and will continue to do more. But I think it's a really good step forward. People want to isolate certain aspects of the bill that they don't like, and there's probably something for everybody to pick. But this is a substantively decent product. We'll see what the Senate does, but the pressure is there that if we don't act, if we don't do our job and pass this bill, that people's taxes are going up. And that, to me, and that's to the constituents that I represent, is a non-starter.
Have you been hearing from them about this legislation? Yeah,
they like it. They love that it focuses on delivering mandatory spending reductions. I mean, some of the common sense things that 80% of the American public like work requirements for able-bodied adults in Medicaid, the tax cuts, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. These are all wins that people are really happy about. And again, we can all find something that we might not like in it. But it is a substantively good product. A lot of hard work. The president worked hand in glove with the House of Representatives and now the Senate. So, at least temporarily, our job in the House is done. We'll see what the Senate ultimately decides to do. But it is a largely good product that's going to deliver real relief and real wins for the American people.
Congressman, you also have some legislation targeting child predators. A grim subject, but a necessary one. Tell us about your bill.
Well, what's strange is that, if you are a suspect of or if you're a child predator, and law enforcement is looking into your activities, that you actually get notice that the internet service provider would give you, as the potential criminal defendant, notice that your actions are being picked up on.
Oh, like a heads up.
So it's kind of a weird loophole in the law that should not exist at all. And so this seeks to close that, right? I mean, we want law enforcement to do its job. We want law enforcement to be effective at catching these predators. And it doesn't really do that if you're given heads up that you're being looked at and that you're allowed to delete and otherwise alter evidence that would be used against you in a court. And so this seeks to close that. We've heard from certainly a lot of different groups that this is an area of the law that needs to be closed. And we, at the end of the day, we want law enforcement to be able to effectively do their job and for these people to be behind bars. But it's difficult to do that if the internet service provider is required to give them notice that their online activities are being picked up.
You've got the support of some pretty significant organizations for this legislation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, common sense, I think in the end, common sense wins. And there's a lot of people who that are engaged in this fight every single day. They see it, and this is one area that we can one, close a loophole, but two, just make sure that these individuals who are preying on our children, that they're not going to be that they're going to be behind bars very quickly, and we're not going to tolerate that type of stuff in our society. I mean, and I think this is actually a bipartisan opportunity, or I hope that it will be. But there are a lot of organizations that are certainly supportive. victims' rights organizations, as well as law enforcement. And so you really have the whole array of entities that are supporting this bill, and it really is just common sense. And I hope we can deliver this and send it to the president's desk.
Congressman Fry, it is hurricane season, which can hit your state pretty hard year in, year out. What are your concerns for this year?
Well, I think obviously, for us along the coast in South Carolina and other places, it's always important to be prepared, to have a plan, be ready. I've lived through enough hurricanes when I was in the state legislature. Obviously, we dealt with them at that level too. So preparedness is really key, and local and state certainly drive that, but the federal has an obligation there too. And so as we gear up, obviously, we want to make sure that people are prepared, that the states are prepared, the local governments are prepared, and most importantly, our people are prepared. And I think, I feel very confident in our state and local and federal officials to be able to do that. But obviously, it's always a waiting game every season on how we're going to handle it. And, you just hope and pray that it doesn't hit you. And if it does, that the recovery is quick, because people, that's the hardest job in public service, is seeing people that have lost so much and trying to help them in any which way possible to get back on their feet.
I mean, I've seen concerns about FEMA, changes to FEMA, and how that could affect hurricane season. Also, cuts to the National Weather Service and NOAA as well in terms of forecasting.
Well, I think with the FEMA stuff, look, every agency has an element of waste, an element of fraud, if you will, and FEMA is probably no exception to that. And so I think making sure that the government, the federal component of this, is streamlined. And one of the biggest complaints that I always had in the state legislature is that FEMA sometimes is the roadblock to getting back on your feet. So equipping states, making sure that states are nimble, that they're fast, that is so crucial in time of a hurricane, not only in the preparation and the lead up to, but in the aftermath as well. And oftentimes, as we've seen in North Carolina, Georgia with Hurricane Helene most recently, but in a lot of storms, is that FEMA is the last one to the table, and they're the slowest one to provide relief to the citizens that so desperately need it. And so making them more efficient, empowering the states to do more, and making sure that the dollars that are appropriated to FEMA are purposed to help people, and that they're not a hindrance, that they're actually a help.
Congressman Russell Fry, he's a Republican serving South Carolina's 7th Congressional District. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Julie.
Pleasure. Take care.